Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some more news coming out of this Michigan program as running backs coach Mike Hart not returning to the program heading into the 2024 season. And I want to talk about some really intriguing running back coach candidates that would be really good hires for this Michigan program. Now, Mike Hart, I think a lot of Michigan fans who were following the situation rather closely probably saw the writing on the wall with Mike Hart. And I don't want to speculate on what's going on. I hope Mike Hart is okay. I hope he's healthy. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sherrone Moore already has a few candidates in mind for the next running backs coach for this Michigan program. I want to get into three names that I think would be really good fits for Michigan as the next running backs coach before we get into it. And as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. A massive shout out to the Michigan fans. Many of you guys know I am a massive Michigan fan, not a program across the country. I love talking more than my Michigan Wolverines. And for the Michigan fans over the last couple of weeks, it's been extremely busy with the coaching hires. Cannot thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have shown. I've had a blast talking this program. You guys have been absolutely awesome with all the support. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to have the conversation like we kind of had for every other coaching hire. And it starts with, what do you want in your next running backs coach for this Michigan program? And I think a lot of Michigan fans probably all feel the same way. And I think Sherrone Moore certainly feels this way. This has been kind of a topic that we've discussed a lot over the last couple of weeks, and that is the emphasis on talent acquisition and getting it going on the recruiting trail. And that's not to say that player development doesn't play a role in this coaching hire, but Sherrone Moore, if there's going to be one deviation in terms of what Sherrone Moore is going to do with this Michigan program, you're already seeing it. The emphasis on talent acquisition, getting top players to come to Michigan. I think a lot of Michigan fans feel the same way. This is a premier program in college football. It's the defending national champions, and we should see the talent acquisition be going in the right direction. I think it certainly will with head coach Sherrone Moore taking over. Now, the first candidate that I want to talk about here is running backs coach Devon Spalding at Wisconsin. Just got there going into the 2023 season, spent time at Cincinnati in Central Michigan before then. Couple of reasons I'm a massive fan of Devon Spalding. One, would make a ton of sense at Michigan. We just saw Michigan go and grab Wisconsin's defensive line coach and Coach Scruggs. Devon Spalding kind of checks a lot of those boxes that we just talked about. One, on the recruiting trail, he's a young coach, doesn't have a massive recruiting kind of resume, you might say. But in the first class of being a running backs coach at Wisconsin, he landed not one, but two four-star running backs for Wisconsin in that 2023 class, a guy in Deland Jones, who really was one of my favorite running backs in the 2024 class. I think one, Spalding has shown that he can get it done on the recruiting trail. But number two, I think he is a phenomenal coach as well. You look at what he did not only with Braylon Allen, who we knew Braylon Allen was a dude. Obviously, Braylon Allen had another phenomenal year in 2023, but also with Chez Mellusi. And Chez Mellusi was a guy that transferred in from Clemson. You hadn't really heard much of him. He kind of broke out onto the scene for Wisconsin before suffering that injury. Devon Spalding, not only a proven recruiter, but a guy that I think certainly can develop players as well. Again, spending time with Luke Fickell, a phenomenal player developer in himself, you kind of know Spalding is going to be a phenomenal player developer. And I think the last storyline here is played his college football at Central Michigan, played his high school ball, grew up in the state of Michigan. We talk a lot about recruiting your own backyard, getting top guys from Michigan in the state of Ohio to come to play for Michigan. I think Devon Spalding would be a guy that certainly gets it going on the recruiting trail in the state of Michigan. And you look at some of the top running backs for Michigan, Donovan Edwards, Cole Cabana, two guys that are from the state of Michigan. I think this would be a home run hire. This is probably my number one candidate for the Michigan Wolverines. Now, the next guy I want to talk about, and this one, I'm not necessarily sure how realistic it is, but I think he is a phenomenal coach that has done some phenomenal things over the last couple of years, and that is Deland McCullough at Notre Dame. Now, this one will be a tough get in terms of he's not only the running backs coach, but did such a good job that now he's an associate head coach as well. Heading into 2024, I mean, the proof's in the pudding with a guy like Deland McCullough, who, again, took over from Mike Hart at Indiana when Mike Hart came over to Michigan. You look at the running back room for Notre Dame in 2023, obviously led by Audric Estime. It was one of the better running attacks that you saw. They're going to have multiple guys on that roster going to the NFL draft the next couple of years. And he's also a guy that gets it done on the recruiting trail, played his college football at Miami of Ohio from the state of Pennsylvania. Again, two states where Michigan really gets a lot of their talent from. I think Deland McCullough, a guy that has that kind of high-end Power 5 experience. We've seen Michigan go out and poach Tennessee's linebacker coach and Brian Jean-Marie. I wouldn't be surprised if Sherrone Moore swings a big stick and potentially makes a run at Coach McCullough at Notre Dame. And the last running backs coach I want to talk about that, again, I think this one would be another really sneaky good get, is Coach Lee Marks, who just accepted a job at Memphis heading into 2024. Did a phenomenal job for the Washington Huskies in 2023. You talk about what running back Dylan Johnson did for Washington in that 2023 season. Phenomenal year by Dylan Johnson. Lee Marks is a guy that has an extremely strong track record out in the West Coast, right? Started his coaching career at Boise State as a running backs coach, helped develop a guy like Alexander Madison, who's now having a phenomenal career at the NFL level. He goes to Fresno State, works with both Ronnie Rivers and Jordan Mims, who are now in the NFL, and then at Washington with Dylan Johnson. So you kind of see the track record, getting it done in the player development department, and the guy that has also got it done on the recruiting trail. Now, these are three names that kind of came to my mind. I will continue to update you guys as the candidates maybe come out over the next couple of days, but I think two things for sure. One, an emphasis on recruiting is certainly going to be a priority for Sherrone Moore in this hire. I think you've seen that across the board for Sherrone Moore making his coaching hires. And number two, I think this one is going to go relatively quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if Sherrone Moore's already had conversations, at least with some running backs coach, or at least started to build his kind of big board in terms of running back coach targets for this Michigan program. And at the end of the day, we talk about how attractive a Michigan assistant coaching job is, especially in that running back room. You're going to step in and work with guys like Donovan Edwards, Khalil Mullings, Ben Hall, Cole Cabana, Jordan Marshall coming in as a true freshman. If you're a running backs coach, you want to go work with those guys, and it is a springboard into your coaching career. You look at all the coaches that were position coaches at Michigan that now have accelerated their career. It's a good spot to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sherrone Moore goes after some big names for this job. Of course, we'll keep you guys updated as it plays out. Wanted to hop on, talk about some candidates that are really appealing to me. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And more importantly, would love to hear from you guys in the comment section on some running back coaches. And we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.